What up, fam? And we are back. I know it's been a long, like 5 weeks. I've been building race cars and racing Pikes Peak. That whole thing was very unsuspected. Kind of thrown in the mix there. But I did build that car in 30 days. We took it to the hill. We made it to the top of the hill. Things could have been better. You can watch their YouTube. I'll put it right here. And the link will be in the description also, because I know they released a video earlier today, although you're going to see this in a week. But check their video out. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, back to doing things in the garage. I got a lot of projects. I got to do this TJ first. So let's get this TJ out of the way before we head into anything else. And I have a couple of them here. But let's check out this TJ real quick. Alright, getting to this TJ, you can see all the spider webs that are on it because it's been a minute. But if we open this thing up, ta-da! Ta-da! Guess what we're doing? Ha! As you can see, we partnered with MTX to make this TJ sound as good as the monster truck that we built last year at my day job. It was very impressive at how good it sounded with how small of the space that we needed and the speakers needed. So I got a hold of MTX and we're gonna put it in this Jeep. Let me tear all this stuff out of here and show you what I got. So the center of our system is gonna be this shallow 10-inch subwoofer, accompanied by these two 6.5s for the factory soundbar that's in the roof, and these two 5 1/4s in the dash. Let's show you what they look like. First thing we got is this new shallow 10-inch subwoofer. This thing is super rad. Because of the TJ, we need all the room we can get. Look how shallow that guy is. It's a whopping like 4.5 inches deep. It's going to allow us to make a very powerful sub in a very small spot. So this speaker, this shallow 10, only requires 3/4 cubic feet of a sealed enclosure for its max sound, which is awesome. Again, we're in a TJ. We need all the room we can get. For the sound bar, we're going to be replacing those speakers with the Thunder Series coaxial 120 watt two-way 6.5s. Come with their own grills. I'm not sure if we'll be able to use these grills or not, but these speakers, beautiful. And for the stock dash, we are going to be converting those really crazy looking speakers to these little 5 1/4s two-way speakers with grills. We won't be using the grills because they won't fit in the dash, but we're going to modify these and show you how to get them into the dash. The coolest part of this whole build are these new PS800 amps. These are both marine grade. This is a single channel and a 4-channel. The single channel, these are all IP65, so they're weather resistant, because when you're in a TJ and no roof, you don't have to worry about getting rain on your amps and fritzing them out. This also comes with a bass knob that you can put on the dash, so you can control that bass from the dash when you want a little bit more boom booms. Also, MTX has everything you'll need to install a new stereo system. We got amp wiring, so we have all the powers and grounds. We got all the RCAs to run from your head unit to your amps. We also got all the speaker wire you will ever need. So we are going to wire all of this stuff outside of the factory wiring in the Jeep so that it'll be very crisp sounding. And tomorrow, Mama's going to get this Jeep stripped, but tonight I'm going to pull some measurements because we got to get all this stuff in a speaker box of some sort. Let me show you what we're going to do. Since this Jeep already doesn't have a back seat, we're going to build a storage box. And we're going to hide the sub in the front of the storage box. I have a drawer system and a couple of compartments. Now I want to do a storage compartment for theft or anti-theft. Summertime, got no roof on, you got a big sub box in the back of your Jeep, somebody could probably take it. But if I integrate it into the storage box, nobody will even know it's there. We're going to hide the amps inside the storage box, and because it's such a slim 10, I'll actually have some room for some storage. Supervisor showed up. Better late than never. I don't know how much help he's going to be, but we're going to go ahead and pull some measurements in here. I'm going to draw up some sort of plan, show you guys what I'm thinking. Hold this. All right, 34.
I don't know how accurate that is.
Here, it's like 35 and a half I can get away with. Alright, so if I leave that guy in there, watch your toes. Let me get the tape back. Let me get the tape back. You're stepping on it.
You said hold it.
Thanks! About that. Okay. Thanks for all the help, bud. Did you fall in the hole? Come here. Come here, Soup. There you go. And he's out. Alright, so I got enough measurements. Let's go draw something out for you. Alright, if you can follow this, we have 35.5 inches from this wall to this wall. We have 14 inches from the floor to roughly a half inch above this, because I kind of want this to be all flat. We also have 34 inches from basically here, because we have this pin that we have to watch out for. So basically here we have 34 inches from here to the back of this cup holder. And the reason I want to use that cup holder is because the box is going to go to here. So then my sub is going to basically sit inside of here, flush with the face of this, so the box can be from the floor to this face, right? Sub. Very small space we need for this. But I want the top of the box to go another 4 inches forward and then taper down to this, because I don't want to see the face of the subwoofer. I don't want anybody to know that there's a subwoofer in the back of this storage unit. Then because I have this pin, I want this side to be like 3 or 4 inches. There'll be a lid right here, so we'll have an extra compartment down the side of the box. And then in the front face here, we'll have 2 amps. Again, inside of the front tapered face. Now I know, I lost a lot of you there, but as we build this thing, it's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to use some L straps or L rail on the top, so that if you ever wanted to put anything in there, you could bolt it down with little D-rings that'll slide, and they're completely adjustable. Again, I'll show you all of this stuff tomorrow. I'm going to use locking drawer rails, so the back face will have nothing on it but 2 little pins sticking out that you unlock. The drawer will slide out. It's going to be pretty sweet. Anyway, Mama's going to get this thing emptied tomorrow. I'll get everything from Amazon tomorrow so I can lay it all out and show you. Again, check out the store. Yeah, so we'll see you tomorrow. All right, Amazon delivered yesterday. Let's show you the haul. So this is this L track I was talking about. These little guys, push them in, slide them into the hole, turn them sideways, and then they lock in there, and there you go. There's your tie down. So they got a nice beveled edge, little caps in the corners. These are 12 inchers. I got 4 of them. I don't think I'm going to use all 4, but you know, just in case. Also got some locking paddle locks for the little cabinets I want to make. Locking 28 inch, I think they are. Full extension slides. So I'll show you how those work when we get there. And then black piano hinge for the little cabinet that I want to build. Anyway, that's what we got. In order to make this thing look a little cooler, we are going to be removing the rear bumper and tire carrier setup, because I have designed a nice little really nice tucked rear bumper. Because in the summertime, let's be honest, when the roof's off, you got this big thing sticking out back there and a big spare tire on it. Who uses a spare tire? That's what tire plugs are for, right? Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get this tire carrier part off of the bumper, because I haven't built the bumper yet. So let's just get the top off there so we can work on this thing. Alright, so piece A is done. We went 35 because I'm going to leave the carpet in, I think, for extra sound deadening and just because it's going to look cool when the cabinet's open and stuff. So we are going to leave the carpet. It also allows me to hide the wiring in the future because we were going to take that piece out too, but we're not going to this time. So we are 34 inches from here to there and 35 from here to there. Now I'm going to build some walls. I'm going to build this wall first, and we're going to build the box for airspace. And put the speaker in it. Then I'll figure out what we're going to do over here and how big this drawer is going to be. The most important part of any subwoofer enclosure is coming up with the appropriate or recommended sealed airspace for the subwoofer. This shallow 10 from MTX, the 351004S, has a recommended airspace. They want to see 3/4 MDF for the best sound quality, and it wants to be between 0.7 cubic feet and 0.8 cubic feet. So roughly 3/4 cubic foot sealed enclosure. They have some recommended measurements here, but as you can see, we're not going to be able to make that 15, so we're going to shorten it up just a little bit, make it just a little bit wider, but leave the 6.5 depth. That is outside to outside. So we're going to do some quick math and come up with a 3/4 cubic foot enclosure. All right, so quick math. The only number I need to control is the 12 inches high. Whoop. We're going to go 5 inches deep, 19 inches wide, gives us 0.72 cubic feet. I don't really want to mess with these numbers too much and go with the halves and 5.25 inches and all that other stuff. But 0.72 cubic feet is acceptable for the decibel range for this sub, so this is what we're going to start with. This is what happens when Daddy has to work and the supervisor decides he wants to go play. Yay! My little American baby. He loves the water though. Anyway, back to work. While he's playing out there, this is what we came up with. So we got a little 3/4 reveal because I'm going to put a fascia on this whole thing. There's your 19 by 5 inch by 12 subwoofer enclosure. A little piece of cardboard's holding it up. So I have all this room in the drawer system, but what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this piece that way. I'm going to move this guy over so I can put a cabinet on the top so you can have some down storage. So when the roof is off, you can get into it without having to like open the tailgate and pull the drawer out and stuff. So you'll have lockable drawer space and then a lockable cabinet that we can put something in there. I'm not sure. So now I'm going to cut this guy and move this wall over a little bit. I don't know how far yet, but we'll figure it out. Also, it's because I have this pin, so this wall has to move over anyway because of the drawer system. Anyway, let's cut that up. All right, so we got that piece cut up. Coolant is only like 11.5 inches tall, so that's cool. So I think I'm going to leave this gap about 4.5 inches. And then I'll build a big lid for this. I don't know which way, probably that way so that the hinge is over there and you can put stuff on top. That guy will go on the end of that and go out, and then I'll build a nice fascia that'll seal this guy off to there. And that's what I came up with. So then we will build the top, and then I'll build a nice front fascia that'll go all the way across, and that'll be like a screw in afterwards. Like once the box goes in, we'll screw that big fascia on the front face. But now I got to get a hole in that piece so that the sub will fit in it. hole cut out. Survey says really, really nice. There it is. Oh yeah, press fit. Sweet. Now that we know that speaker fits, we're gonna pull all this back out, put it on the table, screw it all together, wood glue and all that fun jazz, and get the box ready to go back in. Then we'll build the top and the back fascia, but let's get the sub part guy done. Another cool trick when you're using wood glue, you want to get the wood a little damp where you're going to put it. So we're going to get this a little damp right here, a little damp. We'll run a little damp cloth up this and up this. It just helps the glue really get in there. Clamp her together, run them in. And that's it. Got our sub enclosure, so when we put the top on there, this will be all blocked off. We're going to go ahead and seal this and caulk it really good. Here's our compartment. So when this door opens up, we'll have enough room for like coolant bottles or whatever, straps and stuff. And then right here is where we'll put our nice drawer slide system. A little bit of dead space. I don't know what we're going to do with it yet. We'll see. All right, and last but not least, I plotted out these little guys and just routed a little bit, like little 3/8 into the floor. And I did it so that we can miss these little guys. So I hope my math is right, but let's go find out. All right, so we got it shoved back in there. My calculations were correct. It's sitting basically on the floor. And then what I did is that center mount where the seat bracket used to be is 17.5 inches from this hole to that hole, and 17.5 inches from that hole to that hole. So we just kind of mark center. I'm gonna go ahead and drill that, and then we'll have a nice bolt down spot. I'll put a nice countersunk, metric countersunk in there so that it'll be permanently mounted, but fits pretty good. Well, I nailed that. It's perfectly in the center. Use the shoulder bolt that came out of one of the seat belts because we don't have those anymore. And this thing is like super solid. Nice. Perfect. Now let's figure out how we're going to build the top. And next up, we got the drawer slides in and screwed into the wall. I just spaced those guys up with a piece of 3/4. So that one, and then that one. So that's how I laid them out. And then I probably could have calculated that more. I got some 28s. I probably could have got some 26s. But we are still within the fascia. So I just made sure both sides were the same from the fascia when I screwed them in. And they are locking open, so they won't close. And locking closed. All right, so now we're going to design a drawer. We're not going to design it. It's pretty much laid out. It's 26.5 inches wide, 27.5 inches deep, and 11 inches tall. We're just going to build the drawer and screw it in. And voila, one drawer made. So now all I got to do is I'm going to space it off the bottom about maybe a 1/2 inch. Figure out where center is on my rails. Pull this out, pull the rails out, screw them to the side. All right, so that's where center was when it was sitting on the deck. So now we're just going to raise it up to about right about there. It's 1.5 inches from the bottom, so we're going to go up, I don't know, about 3/8 of an inch. And I scribed a line. Now we're just going to line that back up, drop it down, drill some holes. Ooh, side A. Ooh, side B. Now let's see if it fits. Also, I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but man, that thing is pretty pretty square with the drawer face. I don't know how I pulled that off, but yep. So now I'm going to make a front fascia for this guy, cut that out so you won't see any of that. And then I'll build a fascia here to close that off. So yeah, that's going to look pretty sweet. You got a little gap all the way around the bottom. Ta-da! Sick. Alright, it's a beautiful Sunday morning. Now all we got to do is panel off these sides. We'll make a little fillet panel and a little fillet panel and one in the front. I think I'm going to leave the other side open for like extra storage, and I'll show you what I mean. So on this side we got this little filler panel that we're going to put in. Trust me, it fits better. It fits all the way down. So that's going to fill in that part, so when you open this up it's got a front wall. And then back here we're going to build one here. We're going to build one right there. I think I'm going to leave this side open though. So it's just the front cover is just going to go all the way across to the other side, because on this side you can throw like, I don't know, maybe a lawn chair or an umbrella or something like behind the seat into this cubby. It'll still go all the way across, but there'll just be no face on that part right there for longer stuff. I don't know. But yeah, it's coming together. All right, so we got our CAD design template. Bam! Now we just cut it out. And
Ooh, man.
so there's the last two. This one fits really nice and tight. The top's gonna go right over. You won't even see that. This side I got a little bit more creative, and that'll flush that off with a top. Then we have that guy. And like I said, I'm going to leave that one open so that you can get to it from the front. Now for the hard part. So I have this really nice piece of birch ply that used to be in the back of Phoebe's before we had Waylon. Been keeping it because it's a very expensive piece of wood. So we're going to use it today. That's going to be the top and the front face. So I'm going to measure like 15 times and probably cut 4 or 5. All right, there's my piece. Measured this out 3 times. So from this point to this point, I should be able to get this guy under this, because it's 50 inches from here to this guy. So that I should be able to like put it in, go down, and then move it over an inch or so. So there'll be an inch reveal under here and an inch reveal under here, because this is pretty deep. So we're hoping that works out. So we'll cut it with the jigsaw, and it'll fit. It'll fit. It'll totally fit. It'll fit. Hindsight's 60/80 or something like that, right? So here I had to take the top off because I didn't have enough room to go in this opening diagonally with that thing. So hopefully now it fits. Alright, so plan B didn't work either. So we're going to run plan C. I'm going to use this, make a doubler right here. And I'm going to slice the top across there, and we'll just put a seam here with a doubler. And then we can add that extra inch that I wanted on this side so we can go full length. So there'll just be a seam here. What are you going to do, you know? Let's cut it up. Well, that worked really well. So I just cut it. And I have a doubler under there so we can screw down both sides. I am probably going to carpet this. I'm going to paint it with some sort of undercoating or, you know, something rubberized, waterproof. And then I'm going to wrap it. Maybe not right now, but in the future. So we are going to paint this thing now. So next, we're going to get a door cut into this thing, and we can finally wire up the stereo system. And then hear what it sounds like. Now we cut our door. Then we make the door. And we got it on a hinge, and we have it on a flapper, dude. Nice. I do have to add a piece of 1/8 inch in here so that it sits flush, but that'll also give me some strength for the lock. So I'm gonna put a piece of strap all the way across the bottom of this so the door has something to hit, and this has something to catch on. But we'll do that in a minute. Got the locking door. Works awesome. So that's it. Final setup. Well, before we yank this thing out and paint it all up, got to mount the sub. Pretty cool. And I mount the 2 amps this way so that there's room to adjust them. I am going to build this wall not quite all the way up. I'm going to leave a little airspace at the top so that we don't build up a lot of heat in there maybe. You still won't see it. It's just going to be a little breather up there. And we're going to get these amps mounted so that we can drill holes and tuck all the wiring. And all the wiring will run right up the center console. Be super clean. Amps are mounted. I mounted the 4-channel here because I know the outs. I know 2 of them are going to have to go up the roll cage. And the other 2 are going to have to go to the front. I guess it doesn't really matter. But I do know that this one is the subs. So I just kind of wanted to go in through this wall and then wire it into the sub box. Real easy. All right, getting close. Now all we gotta do is put this little speaker wire pass through. You can get them on Amazon, and it's gonna go right there. So it's in the box. Woo! So it's gonna go right there. And this being the sub amp, these 2 wires are just gonna plug right into that guy. No need to extend or make longer ones. So those are gonna go right there. Let's get this wired up. In order to get this sub hooked up, like I mentioned before, MTX also carries amp hookups, RCA cables, and speaker wire. And this isn't Amazon special stuff. All these cables are MTX. Very nice braided. They're all numbered so you don't get confused on one side to the other. And they just look really nice. Let's check out the power. All your amp wiring from MTX already got eyelets on it. Both of them, the ground and the power. Comes with a really nice fuse holder. Waterproof. Really nice stuff. Let's get it wired. So inside the box is going to be this. This will be the inside. What I am going to do is I'm going to crimp on some eyelets and get rid of these prongs so I don't have any chance of it coming off. There's probably better ones on the market. This is what I had laying around, so we're going to use them. Now you got to pick a power side. So we're going to use the side with the lettering. This is going to be the power side. So that is power. And when you tighten these up, you want to make sure you get that hole lined up straight when you tighten this up, so that you can put your speaker wires through it on the other side. And that's as long as we need it, because we know that's going to go right there. That's going to go right there. Now let's get them installed. Positive right here. Okay, so we know that the one with the writing, which is the square one, there's a square and a round. Square is positive. There's the square. There's the round. Line her up. There she is. It's very tight. There it is. Let's get these things wired up. Now that we got that installed, I got those guys tight. We need to do power and ground and the remotes. The remotes we could tie together. Both of those power wires though are going to run all the way up to the battery in the front. And these 2 grounds need to go to the nearest ground that I could find. And it needs to be a good ground. I can't use those because they're under the cup holder. I don't want to just put self-tappers into the chassis like all the other butcher shops do. I don't want to use any of these up here because I don't know if they're they're pretty welded in. Anyway, we'll find another ground in here. If not, I will nut and bolt through the tub. I will make a solid ground. I don't know, we'll look around for a good solid ground here in a second. Now for the fun part, putting all this cool stuff in. We got the head unit out, we got the speaker grills off, we got the center console out, and now we need to run RCAs from those amps all the way up to the head unit, and then two pairs of speaker wires from the 4-channel amp up to the dash into these two speakers right here that we will be installing. First things first, I need 6 channels of RCAs to run from here up to here. 2 power wires need to run all the way up through the firewall to the battery. So now we just got to get 2 left and the right front speaker wires all the way up here so I can get them out to these guys. It's getting dark out, but that ain't gonna stop us. We need to run power cables. So let me show you what we're gonna do. Because these are marine grade amps, they are IP65, which means everything is sealed. So it comes with these leads that are already soldered and ready to be put on something. So we need to butt connect these, but we're not just going to butt connect them. We're going to use this cool new tool that I bought a couple of weeks ago to do a different job, but it's going to work perfect for this job. So I have these non-insulated barrel connectors. This is an 8 gauge because we are using 8 gauge wire. So this is a hydraulic crimper. This is already a number 8, so this is already set up for 8 gauge. I mean, it goes all the way up to like, I don't know, what is this thing? 2 watt. 2 watt. So this will go all the way up to 2 watt. Anyway, this thing is awesome. I had to use it to do some other power cables on a race car. But let me show you how this thing works. So, in case you wanted to know, this is a, come on phone, YQK70. I did get it on Amazon, and I will put the link in the description. Alright, so we just go ahead and crimp back some of this. Go ahead and put this guy on here. Put it in there, start squeezing. It is hydraulic, just like my brake ones that I have. I have a pair of these for doing like brake lines and cool things like that. Make sure she's butted up. Just keep squeezing. Just keep squeezing. Just keep squeezing. No more. Alright. Let her go. Crimped. That sucker ain't going nowhere. So now we'll crimp this side onto the amp. And there's our 8 gauge extension. Well, it's getting late, so no more filming in the Jeep tonight. So we did pull the box out. We are going to paint it with Pour 15. It is a water protectant of sorts, so it should do really good on this wood. I do want to probably wrap it in carpet at some point, but right now we're going to get all the wood protected and waterproof. Alright, new day, back at it some more. We got the bottom of the box all urethaned up so it's nice and waterproof. Mama's over there painting up some other stuff. We will be pulling that back out. We were just test fitting it for some other stuff today. But we went ahead and got the roof pods out, and let's put some speakers in them. Alright, so we went and took out the roof pods. Now, we want to put some speakers in this bad boy. We did have a couple of issues, and let's show you what had happened. So these are obviously not true 6.5s. I don't even know what size they are, but that's not what they are. So this is what we did. This This 6.5 goes that way. Doesn't quite fit in that hole. But I was going to chop the ears off and it would have fit, but it still doesn't really fit in this radius. So these speakers come with this neat little backing plate. So that almost fits. So what I have to do, we have to shim that and bolt it in. So got some, I don't know, these are like 1032s or something. Some 7/16 nuts fit just nice right there, so we can go ahead and bolt this thing down. Then the speaker will pick up these bolts. Ta-da! So that's what we're going to do. Alright, so all I did was square this up as good as I could, best as I can. And I drilled a 3/16 hole through like that. 3/16 hole. Line that guy back up. 7/16 nuts. Yeah, two. One. So that's all I did to solve this part of the problem. Is that. Bolt these down, snug them up tight, and they work great. Once that's in, the next thing you're going to have to do is get yourself some butt connectors. I got these little itty bitty tiny ones. The supplied connector for the speakers, and you're going to have to do some research and figure out who's who on yours. And get these wired in. I'm doing this part because I wanted to keep this box waterproof, and it's allegedly water resistant. How's that? We'll go with water resistant. So we are going to be putting this on here so that we can put the speakers in, and I'm going to be using the factory plug, cut the other side of the factory plug, and run down to the amp. I'm just using this pass-through, if that makes sense. So we'll get this butt connected up. And lastly, these little holes were set for little tiny screws to hold the grill on. I guess if you mounted this somewhere and then put that on, but we're doing it a different way. So you have to drill these out to 1/8 inch. I just used an 1/8 inch hole. That's a drill, by the way. It makes an 1/8 inch hole. So I just pop these out. Plugger this guy in. Get off. And that's how that guy works. Ta-da. Just run these in. Like a glove. Woo! So then up here on the roll cage wiring, we got this all figured out and wired up. So now we're just going to run this through the inside of the sheath and down to our amps. And then we'll get the pod reinstalled. All right, we got all the connectors done. We got everybody in place. We got all the wires nice and zip tied up all the way to the amp. Now we're just gonna button all this back up and hang these speaker pods. All right, now I gotta put all that mess in. I don't know why I didn't think about this earlier. Costco. Anyway, get power wires at the front. RCAs are already up. We just need to tidy all that stuff up, bring the remote up. So next we gotta wire this all up. So the trick I do is I usually tie a knot in the left, or the driver's side, so that I know when I hook it up, it's the rear left negative, rear left positive. And I like to use these non-insulated ones and then cover them with some heat shrink. I think they look cleaner. They're not as bulky in the end. So that's what we're gonna do here. Also the same in the front. I've already hooked up the front ones. Front left, front right. These are pretty standard in the industry. White is always your front left. Gray is always your front right. Done. Oh, I also have, this one is also, wow, that's big. So these will do the shrink tube stuff too. See, it's starting to shrink. Don't want to burn the wire though. Done. Sweet. All right, as far as the power wires, running them up to the front. We pop 2 holes in the firewall right there, right under the battery tray.
and we're using the supplied grommets, which are 7/16. We just run them in and then pop these guys into the firewall, and we will be done with the wiring for the front. Bam! Feed them through.
All right, we got the box back in. We got everybody loaded back up in there. We are now wired. Another, I don't know, old tip is to run the power not with the RCAs and the speaker wire. So they run down this side of the console under the carpet all the way around through, out the firewall. And the RCAs and the speaker wire for the front are all going to run up that side and get distributed from inside the dash. So now all we got left to do is hook up the bass knob, the remote, all this stuff back into the back of the stereo, and put the stereo back in the hole. All right, with the remote wire hooked up, last thing we got is a bass knob. So you get these cool little bass knobs. You can control the volume of your subwoofer without having to get into your settings. So you're cruising down the street, you want a little less bass or you want a little bit more bass. A lot of times they'll put them down under here, but I'm not going to do that this time. Because we have some of these black panels, I'm going to make this guy fit basically in here like that. So we're going to get this panel out, pull one of these switches, blank switch covers, and get this guy mounted in there. Now we're just going to take out this little guy right here. We're going to do some carving. But I am going to put it back over here, which means I have to cut off these ears because these are like, I'm going to have to cut this ear off. But I want to get it to go back in that hole right there. I'm going to get another switch cover to cover this one. I don't know where it is. There wasn't one in here, but let's modify this thing up. All right, so this thing was like made to fit in here. It's like super tight. Uh-oh. So that works pretty good. The only problem I have is the distance between this knob and this face is really close. So I'm gonna have to grind this all the way off to about just under the knurling, so that when you put this in there, you can put the knob back on there and it'll look like it's supposed to be there. So right now we're just gonna knock this all the way down to this knurling, drill a hole, and get her plugged in. We're gonna start with a pilot, somewhere middle. I'll make it bigger. I'll make it a little bigger. A little bigger. So now that guy fits pretty good right down the middle. Now I just got to take this shoulder off so that it goes back on the knob. How am I going to do that? So we use a good old seems to be working pretty well. I just got to clean this out. With something. Sweet. Clean the knob up. Hopefully this works. And oh man, another factory Chrysler part. Sweet. And put some sticky stuff in there and some sticky stuff in there so that she stays. Nice. Bam. Factory Chrysler bass knob from MTX. Just kidding. You got to make your own. Anyway, got the head unit back in. Got our RCAs in the respectable ports. Make sure you get the mic hooked back up because we got a little microphone right there that came with the head unit. That was in before. And all your stuff's connected back up. Now we just shove that back in the hole, screw it down, and we'll put the nice center console back together. And that part will be done. The whole center's all back in. We're gonna give her a quick cleaning before we do all the seats and stuff, but yeah, fits awesome.
Hope you weren't filming. Love you.
So Mama's down there working on the Rovski, but we got everything painted. I got the whole box all put back together. It's all back in. We already did the wiring. I already showed you all that stuff. But I got the interior all cleaned out. We got these L's just kind of like laid out. I don't have them drilled in yet or anything because I don't know where I'm going to place them. But last but not least, Amazon finally showed up. Let me show you why. So last but not least, we got to hang these 5 1/4s in the dash. But they don't exactly fit, and I kind of forgot we needed to get these. So these are 5 1/4 adapters for the Jeep TJLJ, and I forgot to get some. So they came in this morning. So now we're going to get these hung on those so that we get those hung in that. So these adapters are pretty cool. They do come with their own hardware. And if you notice, depending on, you know, if you have a 5 1/4 or whatnot, like the bolt pattern is adjustable. So that's the bolt pattern. So we just screw those in there, one left and one right, and we'll get these put in the Jeep finally. Bam! Super easy. We're not using the grills because they don't fit behind the stock dash grills, but there they are. Woo, woo, woo. So this has the upgraded sound system in it because it has a mid and a tweet, but we are going to be taking this entire bracket out. Well, it's more like a pod, this whole pod out with 4 screws, 2 up there, 2 down there. Bye bye, Mr. Pod. Unplug it. And it's out. With this pod removed, we can now hang our newly installed MTX speaker. And trust me, they they do fit. We just bolt them up. I need 2 hands. That gets plugged into there. But we don't want to use the factory speaker wires because these are no longer going to work. We need to use these. So I'm going to cut this down and we'll put the ends on here so that we can get this speaker plugged in. So these were supplied with the speakers and they are tied in. Remember, I like the uninsulated ones and then some shrink tube because I think it's tighter and nicer. So now we'll get these plugged in with the speakers mounted back in there. And just like that, MTX 5 1/4 in the dash of a TJ. Boom, driver's side installed. The night of day 17, and I think we finally have everything installed. All the MTX is in. One last and final thing to do. We gotta hook up the power. And we got these cool things. I went ahead and got some V-Gate battery terminals that you can get on Amazon. And if you shake the box hard enough, it'll eventually open. Yeah, anyway. Voila! So here's the ground side, so you can stick all your battery cables in that. And the positive side. Look at that. That'll take some cable. Let's go ahead and get these things put in. So this had the clamp on brass battery posts with power and ground on it, but we're going to cut all this off. We're going to cut all these back. I'm going to cut all these factory things. I'm going to cut this ground cable back a little bit so I have a little bit more. Well, actually, we got a lot of slack. Anyway, we're going to cut all these tops off so we can clamp them into our new V-Gate battery clamps. All right, so we got these guys installed. I just cut that brass piece off. And there's the 2 factory power. That's the winch. That one's down. These 2 are going to be the stereo. Same with the ground. I just ran the winch ground here and the factory grounds in here. They're nice and solid. These are nice and solid, and I think they look great. So now all we got to do is get 2 fuse blocks in between here and get these plugged in right there. I want to make a plate, which we'll do at a later date because I have some other upgrades that we're going to be doing to this very soon. But for right now, we're just going to get these 2 fused together and installed in here so that we can see what this thing sounds like in the morning. All right, so last night, this is the mounting solution I came up with. Just wedged a piece of plastic under there, under the battery terminals, because we have some other things coming for this Jeep. because you know me, I like wiring. But that's just a temporary fix so that we can finish this job. The last thing we're going to do before we turn this thing on is we are going to be setting some of these parameters in these 2 amps here. They're under these really nice billet covers. We are going to be taking this guy, which controls all our speakers. We're going to put it on high pass. We're going to put the gain in the middle. We're just going to roughly set this up for mids and highs. And then this one, the same thing. We're going to turn the gain up, probably in the middle, put it on low pass, and just do some preliminaries on this thing. Alright, here's the 4-channel setup. You can control the front crossover and gain, and the rear crossover and gain, which is really nice. Sorry the video's upside down. You can select if you're going to do it a 2-channel bridged or a 4-channel. We are going to be running on 4-channel. See, it's not even on 4-channel. And then remote turn on mode. Yes, we're going to remote turn on. Gotta get in here and take this little tiny screwdriver, put it on 4-channel. We're going to take the gains, just put them in the middle, because you know we like booms. Both of these are going to be probably full, so we'll put that on full, put that guy on full. So here is your filter. This is your frequency filter. We are on 50 Hertz, so we're going to come up to about somewhere in the middle, because we don't want those low frequencies interrupting our speakers. So now we're going to run over to the single channel. We're going to turn the boost gain is on 0, so we'll put that in the middle. Frequency, we'll let, I don't know, 50 Hertz or below. Low pass filter, and then our gain will turn up into the middle as well. And then remote turn on. Yes. So there you go. Those guys are set up. Let's see what this thing sounds like. And because this is YouTube, I can't just turn on this radio. I'm gonna have to get creative. So here we go. Dang. Sounds pretty dang good. And we ain't even bass knob halfway up. Let's go all the way up and do that again. Dang. Let's turn it down a little bit. Alright, so I like that. Sounds awesome. Yeah, that's a wrap. Put some seats back in this thing and go for a ride. Alright guys, crazy couple of days, but this MTX system sounds awesome in this Jeep. Stay tuned for the next one. We have some really big things coming up. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.